Hello everyone, my name is Loco, and welcome to a best of 3 series of top-level StarCraft 2. It's time for a Protoss versus Zerg, where game number 1 takes place on the map Washout. Now, spawning right here in the upper right, we have the highest ranked Protoss player on the European server. We're looking inside of the main base of MaxPax. I haven't seen that many MaxPax games on the new patch just yet. He used to play in every single online tournament, but lately, I guess he's been picking and choosing a couple here and there. So it's going to be nice to get an update as to where he is currently at. His opponent, somebody I have covered before on the channel, but not in quite some time. Currently the highest ranked Zerg player on the European Grandmaster League ladder. Although I guess it helps that Serral is currently not playing... Whoa, where's my mouse going? I guess it helps that Serral is currently not playing ladder. Playing right here in red, we have GgMaChine. Now, I covered GgMaChine a couple years ago during the Junior Championships. I think at the time he was like 13, 14 years old or so, and I kind of had forgotten about it. So I looked it up on Wikipedia, and it turns out he just turned 17 years old just a few days ago. In July of 2026 is when he celebrated his 17th birthday. Apparently, he's even putting a juice box right underneath the hatchery right there. This is how you know you're dealing with a younger player, actually. I've never seen any of the old dogs, any of the players above the age of like 24. That's when you're old in StarCraft terms. I've never seen them use stickers, but workers in StarCraft 2 can put down stickers, and the youngest generation apparently is a big fan of that. Now, it's gonna be interesting though to see where GgMaChine is currently at. There's no denying that MaxPax is an uphill battle. The man is an absolute macro monster. But GgMaChine has been making steady strides in the right direction, and word on the pro gamer street has it that this man is the real deal. So he doesn't actually have even a picture on his Wikipedia page. I don't believe he's ever been to an offline tournament just yet, and it makes sense because for most of the big events that we've historically had in StarCraft, they have a minimum age of 16. So, for example, any of the ESL events, any of the Blizzard-hosted tournaments, they always had a minimum age of 16, just because I guess they didn't want to deal with any of the problems that might be cropping up if you don't have a rule such as that. Now, these days, sadly, we haven't had a ton of those big events anymore, so I guess the GgMaChine hasn't really had a chance. But he is a 17-year-old from Russia, and I guess we'll find out together exactly where he is currently at. The last few times I saw GgMaChine play, he was a macro-focused Zerg. I don't know if that's still the case, but judging by the build order so far, everything looks very normal. So we've got a Stargate build right here for MaxPax, hatchery first for GgMaChine, who's going to be going into the link speed as well. We have the big drone transfer, trying to get this before the Adept can really arrive on the other side. This is one of the main deficits, right, of being forced to take your third base as your very first expansion. The main problem you run into is that this little bit of terrain without Zergling speed is quite a risky spot to be transferring workers between, because Adepts can obviously pick them up with very, well, relative ease. So this is MaxPax not even really abusing that though. MaxPax clearly already very experienced here with this Zerg opponent. He's actually using this as an opportunity to go for a very fast Stargate. So this is effectively the fastest possible Stargate you can get. He will fire up an Oracle as well. It's Chrono Boost into Oracle. Curious build. Curious way of going about things. So far, the defense will mostly just be a skill check. Yep, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's very easy to accidentally lose a couple workers here and there. But this is very much so a skill check that you have to pass if you want to compete at a high level in StarCraft 2. Losing a Zergling or two, not a big deal. Losing a drone or two, it adds up very rapidly. Now, last time I saw MaxPax play, he wasn't really bothering with the Cybercore research just yet. So, in this matchup, it seems like there's, broadly speaking, 2 ways of playing right now. You either have the Protoss players that stick around on gateways, so not warp gates, for a really, really long time, and they never even really bother transforming them into warp gates. And then you have the guys that pretend that the warp gate tax does not exist. Last time I checked, MaxPax was in category 2. He was just pretending like every single one of those was more expensive. Okay, 2 drones is decent, but that's a lot of hull damage here on the Oracle. Spore Crawler was ever so slightly late, but that does not really matter all too much. I actually think I prefer this for GgMaChine in a really weird way. He's a little bit late on this extra Overlord, though, so that's gonna cost him a bit. Anyhow, third Nexus has already been started up. But losing that much hull damage, especially if you're MaxPax, like MaxPax usually keeps these units around and alive for a really long time. So the more HP you have, the better. There's no way of actually increasing the health on this unit right now. The only way in which you can do so is in 2v2. Fun fact, if your ally is a Terran player, they can repair it with SCVs. It's very cursed. Anyways, let's see. 12 drones right now on the production tab. You can do it in 3v3, 4v4 as well, I guess. Maybe there's a map as well, like a 2v2 map maybe, with like a healing shrine, where a flying unit can enter. We'll likely have to see these oracles either take a very slippery path out of the base. Potentially, though, they need to get recalled. Okay, they decide to hold hands. Yeah, it's risky. You saw the queen right over there on the perimeter. There's 3 queens in the natural expansion. It's not gonna be an easy escape. Okay, Blink together with +1 attack. We already, I think, have transformed the gateways. He actually does get 2 more drones, and he slips away with the oracles too. So that's actually 7 workers in total. Not a bad start here for MaxPax, all things considered. Especially with how greedy he has been. So it's a very fast third Nexus. We already are up to 60 workers right now. Not really a whole lot of damage dealt by GgMaChine just yet, but I think the age of the Oracle, at least of the Oracle harassment, will likely be over by now. You can maybe, try it again, but at this point the creep spread is so far out already that it's just so obvious where those Oracles are going to engage. Usually at this stage it's just much harder for the Protoss players to really get damage done. And that's one thing that's going really well here for GgMaChine. Look at that. He's been 100% on top of the creep spread. We have a double expo as well. One at the bottom and one over on the left. Usually Zergs really only need 1/4 base. He's already preparing a second one. Look at this timing though on the fleet beacon. Wait a second. MaxPax is going, I think, for a really quick blink into Mothership build. +1 melee done at this point for the Lynx. That means that these Stalkers can be in serious trouble. Nice trigger right there on the Stasis Ward. But this is exactly where those Oracles are so handy to keep around. If it wasn't for the Oracles, those Stalkers likely would have died. The timing on this... My god, we're adding so much production. The timing on this fleet beacon is kind of wild, really. Yeah. Considering we're making 1 million gateways to go along with it, it has to just be for the Mothership. I wonder if he wants to try and see if he can force out a Spire. Force the Zerg to go into Corruptors. Because Corruptors aren't really that useful against anything other than the Mothership. Quite a greedy way of playing it, though. We have one more pesky Oracle going to town. But even though we have this Mothership coming up, I don't really know if MaxPax is going to be able to put in that much work with her just yet. As a matter of fact, GgMaChine has been scouting around. He's gone straight into the Hive. Straight into the Lurker Den as well. He's already up to 85 workers. 8 gases mining. This is one of those heavy bases, right? So there's 9 mineral fields on this particular base. Normal blue base has 8. Normal gold base has 6. So this is like a base and a half right here. Give or take. Maybe not quite, but it adds up very rapidly. Can mine a lot of resources very quickly here. And he's even got a backup base over here on the left side that really was meant as a backup, I believe. That's still up and running as well. No drones there just yet, but it's because he's already sitting at nearly 90. You don't really need more workers here. So I don't really know if we're going to be able to really see a big timing attack here from MaxPax. Because I've got a feeling Zerg is effectively getting a free pass straight towards the late game. Look at this. He sees the timing on the base and he goes for even more drones. GgMaChine going north of like 100 workers here. You gotta be very careful because it just leaves so little supply in the tank. As 2 Oracles do die here. Some of the very first units dying on the side of the Protoss, but you just leave so little supply in the tank for actual army. I guess we're turning some of them into spine crawlers. Fair enough. Alright. Lurkers already coming. Honestly, a really quick Hive. Especially for this matchup, especially on the new patch. If you compare this to, for example, the Shin Zerg versus Protoss that we had a look at a few days ago during the RSL run, he was effectively never going Hive. He was just going straight into Hydraling Bane and then never really transitioning out of that mid-game army. This seems to be, the opposite of that particular style. We're effectively skipping mid-game, going straight into Lurkers, and the dance has already begun. Seismic Spines is the ranged upgrade for those lurkers, so they're already able to siege these Protoss units from a mile away. The mothership is here. I don't know if we have any real detection out at this point. No, we do not have detection, so that's something to keep in mind. A lot more lurkers, though, were added into the mix as well. 9 more here. My main concern right now is being able to reach those units. Yeah, I don't think you're really going to be able to counter the mothership. Likewise, I don't think the Tempest are going to be something that you can really gun down with the Hydras. Vipers, though, are a pretty good addition here. We have additional photon cannons also now for Max. So, just like the static defense for the Zerg, we have MaxPax doing the same, MaxPax right now doing the same thing as well. +1 arrow weapons, double Nidus Worm, Spire. I mean, maybe the new patch has slowed the game down a little bit, but really not by much, huh? If this was supposed to be bringing back the glory days of Wings of Liberty that some people were talking about. We're 11 minutes in, and Zerg has everything. Likewise, Protoss already at the ultimate tech. It's got 1 million gateways as well, half of which I think were never even used. Okay. Yeah, part of that is also just the fact that players are way better at the game these days. People talk about Wings of Liberty through rose-tinted glasses, not quite realizing that people are just so much better. Like, if you look at a tournament finals from, like, 2010, I think you're gonna be surprised with how, well, at least a lot of the games were quite boring. Obviously, there were a lot of hyped-up matches, too, but a lot of the games were simply won because somebody got supply blocked for, like, 2 minutes. And it's like, ah, okay, you lost the game because you forgot making pylons. Ah, tough luck. We do see players hitting supply blocks still, of course, these days too, but it's not nearly as common and not nearly as impactful. What is impactful, though, is the amount of bases here that GgMaChine is taking. Many players would be worried to go up against MaxPax, probably the crispest macro player out there. But he's saying, yo, I will fight you straight up. This Nexus is unlikely to happen for now. Yep, Adrenal Glance is not yet done, but he doesn't really need it. We had Spine Crawlers as well built over here in the upper left. Nidus Worm number 1 going up inside of the main base here of the Protoss. Look at the minimap though. GgMaChine is taking everything. MaxPax decided to effectively extend a finger, giving the Zerg player a little bit of wiggle room to macro up, but he has grabbed the entire arm. Mass recall into the main base to try and get rid of these lurkers, but not going to be able to very easily escape. That's a little bit problematic. Nice catch right here for the Protoss. And this little sequence is working out very well here for Max, who actually is lacking some detection now. Yeah, he needs another revelation. There we go. In the meantime, there is a secondary army here too, fishing for a couple of freebies. We did see a feedback on one of the Vipers, but I think it's still an Immortal and maybe an Archon going down. These Zealots are going to have a tough time dealing with this many Spine Crawlers. More lurkers added into the mix. Another Nidus Worm in the corner of the main base. The Skytoss count, though, is growing. We are now getting to the point where MaxPax has a proper death ball. He may have once upon a time meant to play the Gateway Man style. He still has all of those gateways up, transformed them into warp gates, but really, we only have expensive units now. A couple Stalkers and a Zealot still in the mix, but that's really about it. Ultra Cavern going up as well. There's still multiple Nidus Worms available with lurkers inside of it too. GgMaChine is stepping up the pace right now. Look at this, 478 actions per minute. It's so crazy, it's so nuts, right? Like, we're so accustomed to these players having ridiculous speed. But seriously, that's like 8 buttons a second. It's ridiculously quick. Obviously, there's some, well, repeat rates and all the rest of it, right? But gotta take the number with a grain of salt, but it's still kind of crazy. Here we go, though. The Corruptors are available now. Yoinks on the Tempest. I thought he was actually purposely stopping with those Corruptors for just a moment. It seemed to me like he wanted to snatch the Mothership for just a sec there, but he decided to halt. Fish for a Tempest instead. Holding himself back, seeing the High Templar. Didn't want to get stormed and lose precious base HP right there on those Corruptors. MaxPax now going for a split push. Needs to be very careful, though. There's no real counter here in this army against Vipers especially. The Vipers so far have joined up together with the Corruptors instead. A couple of probes end up dying here as well, though. Zergling run by being extremely obnoxious. +3/+3. Yep, just about done. Now we're finally going into carapace research for the Zerg ground army. That's kind of nuts. Likewise, though, we really need some additional upgrades inside of the forge. It's my main concern here for Max. This has been on idle for a really, really long time. 15 probes have died as well. GgMaChine is actually finding an angle over here. This is a crazy angle. Super difficult position to break for Protoss. Air units are, of course, really good at this sort of thing, but if the Corruptors are parked here, there's Hydras nearby as well, it's super difficult to really get a proper engagement. And you know what? GgMaChine sees an opportunity, snipes the mothership immediately, dashes away with the Hydras. Zerglings are going to town inside of the natural expansion. There is a counterattack, though. A lot of Protoss units are on the other side of the map, and that will be -1 base as well on the side of the Zerg. Natural expansion right now for MaxPax is gone. Looks like most of the lurkers have tried to escape. Nidus Worm is, however, picked off, so no easy way to escape on out of here. Looks like the majority of the Zerg units, at least the ones that are reinforcing this, are kept at home to try and deal with this sort of ground army, but it's really scary, man. They're mostly just being rallied to their deaths right now, and that's painful. GgMaChine may have a lot of money available to him, but he's unable to really get the units into place where he wants them. Archon's underneath as well. That gets rid of all of those Corruptors. Both players taking a lot of losses. Third base here, or fourth base on the side of the Protoss has gone down. There is still an upper base here in the top left. Maybe recall, Max. It seems to me that the entire Zerg army is going home. This is a disjointed position right now for Protoss. I wouldn't mind seeing a recall. Yeah, MaxPax so dangerous in those chaotic situations. Nah, he doesn't want to recall. He wants to kill that base in the upper left. Okay. Well, I think it's going to work out. Okay. The main problem for Protoss right now is that Zerg still has had a very significant bank. So, yeah, that trade was pretty good. Yeah, you've killed a lot of bases of the Zerg, but you also lost a ton at home, and Zerg still has a tremendous amount of units out on the map. We do not have a recall available for this either. We do have one feedback, however, but that's not going to be good enough. This entire ground army is going to disappear, and I wonder if the Corruptors are going to take down the Tempest. I say that. Actually, all of the Corruptors have died. Usually we see Zerg players remaxing with Corruptors, but apparently not the case here. Careful right now, Max. That is a trap. You don't want to be wandering into the spines of the lurkers. Carrier transition coming up for MaxPax. He did lose the Cyber Core, by the way. That was nearly done with +2 attack. Usually that makes the carriers extremely good. Zealot's not really achieving too much over here on the bottom right. This seems to be a base that's ripe for the taking. GgMaChine doesn't know that it's there. He sees the movement, though, here by the Protoss. It's becoming a little bit suspicious. Tempest count is going up yet again. There's a lot of Hydras available. But the Mothership Tempest combo is going to be difficult to beat. Nice abductions, though. Woo! Really good abductions, actually. Now Corruptors are being added into the mix once more. But keep in mind, they're very gas-heavy. And neither player has a lot of gas, but especially GgMaChine is out right now. There's a much more... yeah, beefy Protoss army. If you look at the Vespian gas cost here in total, it's not bad at all. Where's Mama going? Mama's going on a little adventure. Is she trying to go for a recall? She's trying to go for a recall, but it's risky, man. He recalls the units, but loses so much in the process, too. Time warp to try and keep Mama alive. Nice movement by GgMaChine yet again, man. I gotta say, the way in which he anticipated that play, even though it's such a weird strat, the way in which he was positioning his army and immediately struck when he saw the opportunity, you gotta be so decisive, right? But it's so easy for things to go horribly wrong. Just barely able to escape through the time warp. Protoss is feeling a little bit desperate. That's some excellent storms right here, though, by MaxPax. Base over here on the left will certainly fall. And there's still that mining over here in the far right side, and that is a problem. The fact that GgMaChine does not know about that base is giving MaxPax way more mining than I think he was supposed to in this particular instance. Here we go, though. We have Zerg trying to commit. Is this an overextension right now by GgMaChine? He wants to force that GG out. Only a handful of Archons remain. The Corruptors are going to clear out all of the air units. 23 Hydralisks are just about to hatch. This is going to come down to the absolute final units right now. GgMaChine's bank has been completely depleted, but recall right now gets called, and I don't think that was the play. I mean, losing everything is also suboptimal. But the recall taking a few seconds there really cost MaxPax a ridiculous amount. GgMaChine still does not know about this base on the right side. It's such an easy pickoff. Honestly, if he would have known, this game would have been over. Yeah, he's moving forward. He does not realize. Now he notices. Yeah, now he realizes the movement here by Protoss, or maybe he finally just decides to check. Could have done this several minutes ago. If he would have done so... Ooh. Accidentally burrowing the units. If he would have done so, I think this game would have been over already. Now MaxPax's economy, though, really is going to take a nosedive. However, while all of this was going on, we did have that rebuilt nexus over here in the upper section of the map. Zerg has not really been able to mine all too much. Couple stalkers here, 4 of them. For some reason, out on a little adventure by themselves. They're not going to be able to survive this for all too long. +3 adrenal gland Zerglings. Oh, really? Against unupgraded armor. Not ideal for Protoss stalkers most of the time. I guess the Corruptors have been trying to go around the side here. They want to caustic spray down the Nexus, but MaxPax a little bit too sharp. Dude, what a beautiful game of StarCraft here, I gotta say. I wasn't sure what to expect going into this, but man, if this is your introduction to GgMaChine, I think I picked a bit of a banger. By accident. Even a broken clock, I guess, is right twice a day. That's me. I'm the broken clock. Hit like and subscribe, everybody. Nah, this is really nice. MaxPax is running out of cash. He really only has this base up north. Likewise, GgMaChine doesn't have a lot of mining, but rather than taking another base, he's got his eyes set on the price. Risky move, though. Yeah, this is dangerous. There's storms available. There's time warps available, too. The AoE cloaking is incredibly nice. There's actually not a single Corruptor in the mix right now, so... Ooh, you can only really grab the units that are outside of the range of the mothership. New hatchery does now get fired up over here on the left side of the map. Dude, I'm starting to get nerd chills. This game seemed like it was over, but both players successfully stabilized. And while it's been a major skill check across the board, I am favoring GgMaChine's position here. MaxPax, though, extremely good in scrappy games. Man, he's loving the Hydra Dash, huh? We see players using Hydra Dash, but not really to the same extent here as the Zerg player. Corruptors finally have found a little bit of a moment. They're just trying to maximize the damage to try and get the Hydras to move in as well. Another dash forward. Protoss army is on the wrong side of the map. He cannot recall yet again. That ability is on cooldown. GgMaChine finally gets the price that he was aimed for, but he also also wanted to get all the units there. Loses the hatchery, however, in the middle. We have a secondary Zerg attack wave as well over on the right side of the map, and I think it's about time we say goodbye to MaxPax's economy. Another Nexus falls. This is another hatchery dying as well, but I've got the feeling that GgMaChine again is getting the upper hand of this particular trade. The base over here was important, but this over here, the juice box is back, baby. This over here is entirely irrelevant. That base has been mined out for ages. There's 0 workers remaining for MaxPax. GgMaChine has a fresh base over here on the left. Brenda wins the fight against the Zealot, and there it is. Our Zerg player gets the game. I can't believe he managed to pull that off. The confidence, that's the main thing that's getting me here. MaxPax decided, yo, I will give this Zerg player the opportunity to play a macro game, knowing very well that he wins pretty much all the macro games that he plays. That was a phenomenal performance there by the Zerg. I did not expect that. Okay, game 2, the Old Sun Temple. Bottom left, we have GgMaChine delivering the GG. As promised. Although I guess GgMaChine could also mean that you're the one GGing out. A little bit unlucky. By the way, his clan, his team, is Stolny Balls, which I've been told means balls of steel. Not entirely sure why. I know during the Wardy Team League, I don't know if this was like a manufactured team that a bunch of friends put together. I think the Stolny Balls are actually older Russian players. Let me look this up real quick. I'm sure there's a Wikipedia page. Yeah, it's a Russian esports organization founded in March of 2026. Yeah. So they have GgMaChine, Nicorex, Shameless, Young Yakov, and Strange. Oh, so funny. I think they mostly just did this to participate in a team league together. But hey, you know what? They were very successful at the time. It's so interesting, right? How we have, like... Genuinely, I think we're, like, on generation 3 of pro gamers. In my mind, at the very least, if you talk about, like, the first generation of pro gamers, it's guys like, for example, Nesty, like MVP, right? If you're a StarCraft 2 boomer, you may remember those names as well from the very early days. Then after that, we had names like, for example, Teja coming up. We had Neep winning so many tournaments. Neep, actually, for the Neep fans out there, all of the American fans out there, Neep just announced that he's returning to StarCraft 2 and he just joined the professional team. So that's pretty hype. He just announced this, like, as of me casting this, like, I think 2 days ago. So pretty crazy development in that department. But yeah, he dominated for some time. But then he decided to go back to school and, you know, we didn't really hear very much from it. And then we had players like, for example, Serral coming up. We had players like, for example, Clem and Rainer coming up. And now we have this new generation again. Players that, well, are literally teenagers, right? Like, literally. It's kind of nuts. Like, if you ask GgMaChine what a mothership core is, he probably has no idea. If you ask him about the research Kyderian amulet, he probably looks at you weird. Okay, maybe all of you do. I don't know. I don't know how many of you have been watching StarCraft since the early days, but seriously. It's very interesting how a game that's now been around for a little over 16 years has these like this history, right? Like this heritage. And that's one of the things that newer RTS games are never really going to be able to copy, because that's just something that needs to happen organically over time. You just have to have a game around for that long. It has to be popular for that long for new players to pick it up and to actually give it a try. Now, there's a bunch of names that have been making it to the absolute top of the ladder on all servers, but it seems to be especially on Europe right now. There's a bunch of names that have been taking games off the absolute best, and even though players like Rainer and Clem are only really, I think they're like, what, 23? Feels like they're already starting to make room for the newer generation, which is kind of nuts. Even though, of course, they're still at the absolute top of the game. Okay. Well, maybe not overhyping is also a thing, right? Let's see if we can do a back-to-back performance like the previous one. But the thing about the previous game is that it wasn't just like a tricksy strategy. It wasn't just like a one-off all-in that happened to win a game, right? Like, that was a half hour of correct decision-making, which is extremely difficult to do. Third Nexus gets planted down nice and early yet again. This is a third Nexus before the second gateway. So the new timing of that is 4:10. 4 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. Used to be about 3:30. If it's a little bit later than that, it means that you have the second gateway added into the mix before the third Nexus. 4:10 is the new 3:30. That's about the amount of delay, I guess, that the new patch has introduced with the 8-worker start count, but then all of the other macro changes have sped it up again a little bit. Yeah, MaxPax settling for the time being on just a larva kill, a spore crawler here. Fair enough. +1 melee, once more. The Koreans are really big fans of this. We don't really see Serral playing this all too much. The Korean Zergs are big fans of quick +1 melee, but then they usually follow it up with that never-ending mid-game of Hydraling Bane. Three drones so far, and a Spore Crawler, 7 Zerglings as well. Not a bad start here, 4 MaxPax. Twilight Council together with a Forge. Honestly, MaxPax really got to play his plan, right? Like, that's... it's kind of nuts, but he played the game where he usually is favored, and then he got outpaced in his own strategy. It's one of the nice things with the new patch, actually. It sort of leveled the playing field a little bit. So everybody has to relearn a bunch of stuff, and it allows some players, obviously, to maybe catch up to the absolute top dogs a little bit quicker. Man, this is really nice though for Protoss. Yeah, he takes a lot of hull damage, but we're already 8 drones deep. MaxPax, an absolute god tier. Early game player especially, man. Like his... Nobody plays the early game as cleanly as MaxPax does. Yeah. Perfect situation right over here again, too. Perfect positioning. Nothing actually lost. So sick. So easy for things to go horribly wrong for Protoss at this stage already. How many times have we seen a small pack of Zerglings like this kill an entire base and then like 7 probes as well? Alright, we're celebrating now with a good old fleet beacon yet again. So same strategy as what MaxPax went for in the previous game. Blink Stalkers +1 and then a fleet beacon. I'm assuming then we're gonna go up to 10 gateways yet again. Are we gonna add on 6 additional gates here in just a moment? There's 2. I think we can add another bunch over here inside of the main base with ease. Man, he's getting so much value, though. That's a bunch of creep tumors falling as well. Got an overlord for his troubles. Yeah, the creep spread allowed so much movement in general in that previous match. Not gonna happen this time around. These spawn locations, by the way, so when you have the horizontal spawn on Old Sun Temple, I always like it better for the non-Zerg. Mostly because of the fact that you can not really easily take a 4th base. So this really is the only 4th base that GgMaChine can currently take. Blink is done. I think you just go to the low ground, right? Yeah. There is the alternative base over here on the far left, but 2 adepts have been patrolled there. And the only way for Zerg to go up is by either going around or by killing the rocks. And these rocks are actually very beefy. Overlord providing high ground vision, by the way. They get a creep tumor up there. MaxPax moves on over. Should go after the creep tumor, actually. Extremely annoying for Zerg to lose that one, but not quite paying attention in time. Oh, he does get it. Nicely done. Stalkers in the meantime in the middle. Trying their absolute best. But because of this position, I think, we have the Zerg mixing things up. It's Muta play. Muta against very quick Blink Stalkers. Muta against a very quick Mothership. It's doable, but extremely hard. Perfect detonation on the Stasis Ward yet again. 4th Nexus over here. Mutas are, of course, in the short-to-air distance, right? They're going to be able to get into the main base here quickly. But look at the timing on those Photons. Just about perfect here as well for Max, who has now begun production on the Phoenixes too. Annual Pulse Crystals already coming up. Because of the speed on the Fleet Beacon, he can already get the Phoenix range research started. I'm not liking this very much for GgMaChine, man. This is not a comfortable spot. He's fine for now, but MaxPax has the opportunity to now make a bit of a death blow. 4th Nexus is going to finish up. Static defense over here too. The Mutas are already countered. The age for the Mutas is over. There's even a 2nd Stargate available already rallied on top of the Phoenixes. Yeah, Phoenixes can move and shoot at the same time. And with good micro, you should never really lose them to Mutalisks. Oh, we have some Corruptors. What are we playing? Ling Roach Ravager Corruptor? Okay. Well, this is kind of sneaky. The 4th base here. Ooh, he gets the base. Yeah. Uses this opportunity. No force fields for the Protoss. He just went down the ramp, sniped the base, and went back up. Okay. Sneaky plays here by GgMaChine, working out, though, in his favor. But I wonder, is he also going to be losing the base over here? Time Warp is extremely scary. Is there enough Protoss? I'm not sure. Banelings? Speed Banelings, that is. Mama's gonna run out of her abilities, though. They're gonna be on cooldown for like another minute, and I think that that will be GgMaChine's time to strike. He moves forward, mostly just faking it. He wants this Protoss army to back off. Tempest, okay, are gonna be nice to have, but the Mothership is done, and the Stasis Wards really have not been getting the value. Look at that, again, triggering another Stasis Ward, this time around with a Changeling, but I feel like that's the main key so far in these games. MaxPax is almost expecting to be able to catch most of the Zerg army in those Stasis Wards, but GgMaChine is picking them off in just a moment. Okay. Look at me. I'm an idiot. Anyways, let's see. He still has a lot of units available, to be honest. He decides to actually strike now while the iron is hot. Tempests are indeed being targeted down, but the Stalker count is really large. Here go more and more Banelings, though. A lot of clumped up Protoss units. Does MaxPax even have the numbers to defend this right now? Zealot counterattack in the meantime on the left side. Not controlled by MaxPax, so they actually go after the gas geyser first. This is extremely bloody, but GgMaChine again getting the upper hand out of this exchange too. Reducing the Protoss economy to just 3 bases. Saving pretty much all of the workers over at this expansion of his own. Dude, I'm getting nerd chills again. I've never really seen this before. MaxPax is absolutely getting destroyed. But this is MaxPax getting destroyed with the home field advantage. Like, he has the pacing in the game. Like, he decided what this game should look like, and he's getting beat at his own match. Very unorthodox approach as well, by the way. Like, this full aggression. Roach, Ravager, Ling, Bane, Corruptor. We had Mutas once upon a time. Not bothering to go Hive this time around. Instead, we're going to go Overlord Speed. I wonder if we're sending the Queens, man. I wonder if he's going to try and double down and go for an all-out assault. He knows, though, that Protoss is on 3 bases. I think there's very little reason. When Protoss is on 3 bases, you have 5, let him come to you. Yeah, maybe do some more harassment. But committing to an all-in is kind of walking into the Protoss' base with open arms. There's no reason for it. Finally, it looks like Max is going to be able to get the base that he's been hunting for a long time. But those drones are going to be able to find a new home over on the much safer left side of the map. Oh, probes are dying here too, man. Rocks are still not down. Maybe mining out the mineral fields would be a bit easier. Hatchery is just going to be rebuilt. He's also taking a one over here in the upper left. Okay. Now we're going Infestation Pit. Storm added into the mix here for MaxPax, but this is going to massively slow him down. MaxPax really only has one option for a third. No way he can really take the one over there on the mini-map. He has to take this one, but GgMaChine is all over it. Mothership 2 is out. We have a good army here for Protoss, but Zerg is maxed. It's becoming extremely dire, by the way. Like, MaxPax needs another base. He needs this base. He's gonna run out of steam real quick. Main is running out. Natural is not far from being reduced to just a handful of mineral fields as well. MaxPax needs another base, or he's gonna just simply bleed out over time. So even though this doesn't seem that impactful, without it, he is gonna run dry real quick. Secondary army over here up north. Plenty of zealots available to intercept it. Hive is coming, by the way. Not sure what the transition is going to be here for the Zerg. He did go for the +1 carapace, so he could go Ultras. Maybe he just wants to double down on this, man. Maybe it's just for, like, Vipers. Maybe it's just for Baneling speed. Is he gonna send it, or is he waiting for the Protoss to move up the ramp? I think that's what we're looking at right now. No, he's gonna send it! He's gonna send it! This seems so ridiculously risky. Pretty much the most unnecessary attack as well, but he knows how dire this situation is for Protoss. Just killing the base is enough. You gotta make sure that you can also hold the counterattack here. MaxPax has a ridiculous amount of army still available, but losing this base is again gonna knock a minute off of the mining here that MaxPax has. +2 armor coming up. Ultra Cavern. Dude, there's nothing good that MaxPax currently has against upgraded Ultras. You need Immortals, but again, he's flat broke. He's got 1 Robo, I would imagine. Does he even? Wait a second, am I looking over it? No, he doesn't have a Robo facility. Yo, Ultras are the perfect weapon here. MaxPax cannot afford going Robo facility right now. This was an overextension, though, by the Zerg. Maybe it wasn't so much if this Ling run by can also put in some work. I think, though, we're mostly doing this to get rid of some of the supply. Yeah, the roaches are no longer really useful, but this was just a straight-up donation. MaxPax's army is extremely scary right now. Mama's gonna die. Yeah, and reading this game right now from MaxPax's point of view is tough, right? Like, how do you decide what your current state of the game is. Zerg seems to, at the very least, have a far bigger army than you, even though you're at a 170 supply count. Man, I wouldn't mind seeing Zerg just give up on this base, but clearly, GgMaChine took that base, and he's gonna try and save it for a little while longer. Ultralisks, though, are coming. Adrenal glands, chitinous plating. I think giving up on this is the smart move, yeah. This is now also allowing MaxPax, though, that fresh new base. Zerg does not have the economy that we saw in the previous game, so the Ultra spawning is going to be a very big moment. There's one. There's two. He doesn't have chitinous plating yet. Yeah, better to back off. One Ultra did die. MaxPax knows he needs to go right now because he does not have a counter against the Ultras. Archons and Stalkers are decent, but not the main weapon of choice usually. Queen's going in for some transfusions. Zergling's going in around the back. No more storms available right here for MaxPax. He blinks away. Overextension by Max. Couple of Zealots here as well, being an absolute nuisance. Sniping drones left, right, and center. That's another Ultralisk dying. Infestors. Ooh, is this for fungal growth or microbial shroud? I guess both would be nice. Zerglings are now at adrenal glands, by the way, so they have 40% additional attack speed. Protoss trying to target fire down the Ultra, but that takes a lot of firepower away from the rest of the units. That means the Zerglings get effectively free reign. Zealots again being a nuisance, man. Ultra though spawned right in the perfect base. +3 attack is gonna finish up here for Max. I think he's gonna attempt another base here, right? Like, he kind of needs to. I don't think he's got the economy or the army to deal with the Zerg right now. One of the alternative main bases has been taken in the far upper left. Fungal growth? Fungal growth? Fungal growth! Oh! MaxPax saw it. It prevents blink, by the way, so if you're fungal, you cannot blink away. It inhibits any sort of movement like that. Oh, we're storming our own probes. I guess we also stormed some of the Zerglings. Ultras right now fighting underneath the shroud. Yeah, it's forcing Protoss to back off, man. It reduces damage by 50%, which is absolutely massive. All of these Protoss units are ranged other than the Zealots. Nexus is going to die for what feels like the 17th time. It's an absolute bloodbath yet again. But I can't help but notice that this is headed in the right direction for GgMaChine once more. We have a desperate base. I mean, this is the easy expansion for Zerg to attack ever. Protoss has no static defense, no easy way of getting down there. And Zergling, little Zergling here, is going to check. Look at the minimap. Immediately, we have Zergs really done over towards the top right-hand corner. Yeah, the Protoss is also running over here, but you're not nearly as quick. In the meantime, the rest of the Zerg army has got their eyes set on what seems to be the main base in the natural. Mothership number 3 has spawned. Currently no anti-air available, though, other than some corrosive biles. So not much can really be done. Zerglings do get caught in the top right and, or the top left hand corner, rather. Top right. Yeah, I was right. I was right. It feels more to the left. Huge Zergling run by yet again. And this is the problem. You cannot keep that base alive. It's GgMaChine who indeed again gets a GG. We don't usually see MaxPax get outplayed like that. I figured maybe we should have a look at the next series that GgMaChine played in the tournament as well. Interestingly enough, it's once more a Protoss. This time around, it's Hero. Hero versus GgMaChine. Can you really beat Hero at his own game? Hero loves chaos. That previous game was absolute chaos. Man, I can't really get over how confidently GgMaChine seemed to dispatch right there of MaxPax, though. Obviously, that was just a one-off match. But considering he was not even 1 year old when StarCraft 2 released. Man, I was like 18 when StarCraft 2 came out. It's kind of nuts. Anyways, considering it was not even 1 year old, I don't think. Yeah, I think he's got potential. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I think he's got some potential. Oh, we switched sticker. I don't think we switched sticker, actually. I think we're on the North American server now. So the previous game was played on the EU server. I think this is the NA server, since it's Europe going up against Korea. The common thing to do is to go for... So we have a Nexus first, by the way, here, for Hero. I love it. The common thing to do is to pick a middle ground between the two places. Usually alternating between, like, NA Central, NA West, kind of depending on where we're at. Not exactly sure where GgMaChine is located on the planet, but... Russia is a pretty big country, huh? I don't really know exactly where he's located. But anyways, considering that, though, we're on the NA server right now, which I think explains why there was no juice box, but a Zerg heart instead. Let's see. Nexus first is always a bit risky, especially against a pool first opener. Believe it or not, the Nexus has not been reduced to 300 minerals. A little bit of a hole right over here for Hero. Hero's actually a big fan on Lockdown. I've seen this, he does this build every time. I've actually seen him play lately on Lockdown, where he goes pylon like this. Very quick Nexus. And then what you can obviously do is get that, like, I think even earlier than, like, 330, right, on the old patch. So even earlier than 410. I think you can get that base down very safely. Normally, you're kind of leaving your natural expansion wide open. Quick Zealot here. I'm not sure about the Zealot. This is weird, right? Zerg has seen it. There's a animation, of course, on the gateway when something is being produced. No way that Zerg has not picked up on it. Zealot is really quite useful if you know that it's a pool first. But against a hatchery first like this, it's usually not going to be too much help. The queen alone is going to be just fine. Plenty of overlords out on the map as well, so no way that Zerg is going to be surprised by this. What are we going to do with it? Really, just attack the hatchery? Is he just going to go home again? Ah, okay. I think what we're doing is we're trying to scare the Zerg into over-making links. Hero knows that this Zealot is going to be home by the time that link speed can be done. So sending it on a weird little march like this is potentially going to panic the Zerg player out a little bit. GgMaChine, though, only making one additional pack of links. So only 4 of them in total. That's very normal. Nothing weird at all. No overreaction here from the Zerg. Look at that. 358. 358 on the timing. Or on the third Nexus timing. That's ridiculously fast. It's because of the Nexus first. It's because of the 2-structure wall. Most maps take 3x3 structures in order to wall it, but just the gateway and a cybercore is going to be enough. Zergling scouts it, though. But this is exactly where MaxPax and Hero do differ. Hero is extremely unpredictable, right? Like, even though this is, for all intents and purposes, a normal game here, I mean, it's Zealot into Stalker and Adept into Oracle into a third base and all the rest of it, right? Like, all of that is normal. The way in which he gets here is different than MaxPax usually does it. We do see MaxPax playing these types of styles as well from time to time. But it's risky, because you just simply lose to many, many different Zerg attacks. This is nice as well right here for the Protoss. Like, this is, I guess, a normal game for Hero. I don't recommend, though, that you play this as your normal on the ladder if you're a Protoss going up against Zerg. No Spore Crawler, by the way, inside of the main base. You do need balls of steel for that. What's the logo, by the way? It's like a tiger? Do tigers have balls of steel? I don't know. Maybe. Roach Warren. Shield battery over at the third. Hero Marine. Or Hero. Hero Marine. Hero over here. That's a different player entirely. Hero Oracle. Going into a very comfortable macro game here. Not getting as much value, though, out of the oracles just yet. Settling for some creep tumor kills is nice, but not quite ideal. What about the adept follow-up? Now, what's funky about these adepts is that they do not have the glaives research. As a matter of fact, Twilight Council only just now gets added into the mix together with a fusion core. The Protoss fusion core, that is. This is scary, though. Yeah, this is Hero in a nutshell, man. This whole strategy makes sense, but only in Hero's head. You need to have a very significant understanding of the matchup in order for these sort of builds to really make sense. Because if you do this in a normal game, straight up every time, it's unlikely to really work out favorably for you. Wonderful little attack, though, here for the Protoss, who's going to celebrate, I think, with Mama. There she is. We're making Zealots right now as well out of regular gateways. Look how fast they build, by the way. Look at this. I still can't quite get over there, man. It's so incredibly quick. Without warp gates, you just pump them out. Bam, bam, bam. Now, one thing that we don't really have a good counter to at the moment is Mutalisks. I say that. There's just not a lot of gas available. Yeah, 5 Mutas is decent, but not amazing. Looks like we're gonna go for a additional base over here in the far bottom right. But I really do like this position for Protoss quite a bit more. The main scary thing here for Protoss is that he doesn't know about the Spire yet. Although I think he may have just seen a glimpse of the Mutas. Honestly though, just having Mama out is already really handy. If he knew though, I think he would start up a photon cannon in every single mineral line. Stasis ward. Good reaction. Huh, this move out is crazy. What even is this? Zealots on the little mini trampoline. Now the Mutas go in. Yeah, it's only 5 though. If this was like 8 Mutas, they could actually deal serious damage. This is still good, of course, for Zerg. But it's a very costly transition to make for Zerg. And I don't think it's really too useful. There's just gonna be one batch of Mutalisks. Ah, they're actually putting in quite a bit of work. This is a scary attack though, and there suddenly is Mama. Dude, we have the highest Protoss units and then the lowest tier Protoss unit as well. Zealots together with the Mothership. A hero strategy in a nutshell. I think you go Time Warp, no? Time Warp would be really nice. He wants to chase down some of those roaches. Doesn't quite get it. Oh, that's a spicy Time Warp as well. It reduces attack speed by 50% too, by the way. It's not just movement speed. Prism goes in around the side. Queen's not really able to get within range very quickly. An additional warp in does indeed finish up. Mama itself is going to town. Yeah, you may have a plan in all your games of Zerg, but then a hero comes along and ruins all of it. What even is this strategy right here from Hero? It's insane, man. Mama is left by herself now. She used to have a lot of friends, but no more. Honestly, I think you send her into a mineral line, no? Okay, we're recalling Mama to then help save against the Zerg counterattack. Alright. I mean, there's no anti-air. Good counsel on the 4th Nexus, though. Good counterattack here by GgMaChine, it has to be said. Who goes back to Mutas again? I don't know about going back to Mutas, but I guess there's really not that much protecting the Protoss bases. The 3rd is gonna be pretty much impossible to attack into. By the way, we transformed the warp gates back to gateways. Hero is swapping them back and forth. Now that he's back in defense mode, as he sees the Mutas being added in, by the way. Big scout right there for Hero. But he swapped them back. It's faster this way, man. Mama's hanging out over here too, by the way. She wants to recall some of her friends. I don't think the Mutas are going to be able to win the fight. How do like 5 Mutas fare against the Mothership? I don't think they win. Maybe. Main problem right now, though, for Hero is the amount of economy that he's got. Like, yes, all of this has been going well here for Protoss, but we haven't won the game, right? And it's not like the Zerg economy really has been hamstrung that much. GgMaChine is still mining 4 bases, and while he's going to need a little bit of time here to recuperate a lot of the losses, I think he's going to be okay if this game does indeed still go on for a while longer. Denying the 4th base on the Protoss side another time would be absolutely massive. If you could hand off like a round of links, go around the side here and potentially snipe this, Hero would be in a world of trouble. Annual Pulse Crystals is done. Zealot run by as well. This is nice. I think he's going to be able to snipe the base over here. We do have some Overlords. Yeah, at least seeing this. But at the same time, there's also a big move out yet again by Hero. Zealots in the meantime go back. They've been spotted. GgMaChine getting the respect. Hero not just sending the units to their own deaths. Okay. Baneling speed coming up. Infestation Pit as well. +3 attack. Finally, Blink finishes. 12 minutes into the game. Okay. Very odd, right? Considering the timing on the 3rd base, the 4th Nexus finishing up so much later feels a little bit wrong. Obviously, it got countered. He got countered earlier. Had to cancel the one over here at the bottom. But still, there's like a 10-minute difference between those 2 expansions. Bottom right and base has actually been extremely efficient here for the Zerg. It's far away from Protoss to really be able to counter it. This is lovely as well, though. Does he have enough? There's so many Banelings here. Does Protoss have enough? Probes are going to have to run away or die. Die it is. Only using a handful of the units. Now the rest of the Protoss army has turned up. Nice attack here, though, by Protoss. Or by Zerg, rather. Protoss does lift a couple of those units up in the air. Corruptors going after Mama yet again. Yeah. Honestly, GgMaChine is holding himself just fine. Considering the really poor start in this game. And that's really because of Hero's strategy choice, right? Hero cutting corners left, right, and center, going for the strangest move out that GgMaChine has probably ever seen at this level. Considering all of that, he's playing a good game. I'm still not really liking his position, though, very much. This is Hero in a nutshell. He just does this sort of stuff. Doesn't even have Storm, by the way. Crazy. Corruptor going in. Oh, mass recall towards the mothership. I think it's gonna complete. There's the reinforcements. The mothership will die, but here's the rest of the Protoss death ball. Is there enough for Zerg to clean all of this up? More and more Protoss reinforcements will arrive. And while there's a lot of supply dedicated to Corruptors here for GgMaChine at this point in time, there's really nothing for those Corruptors to do. They're gonna go across the map. He wants to pick up maybe a Tempest reinforcing this, or Carriers, or maybe Caustic Spray down a base. But Stalkers are coming out of those gateways. Alright, he does decide to kill down a base over here. That's nice and all, but how in the world is he gonna stop this army? Well, Ravagerling Bane is still very good. Bunch of Queens also available. Hero going into the armor research. Banelings crash into the last unit they should be crashing into. I don't even think he killed a single Archon there. That is the end of basically all of the Banes. Hero decides to go for another mothership. Corruptors going in around the side yet again. Protoss really doesn't have a ton of income, though. That's the main problem right now. He may have been killing Zerg bases, but similar to that match against MaxPax, GgMaChine also is focusing on keeping that Protoss economy small. And technically, while he doesn't have a lot of great anti-ground on these units, he's still trying his absolute best to reduce the Protoss economy. But I think this is the end of the Corruptors. They're not going to be able to kill this base. And in the meantime, Hero, he's taken a very big loop. This army started on the far left side of the map, and they've gone a full, like, U-turn, I guess, around the mini-map. He does finally also clear out this base in the far bottom right. Worker count surprisingly even. But I think what we're waiting for right now is the next mothership to spawn. Zerg is very much so stuck on this mid-game army. And Hero, he's mixing in some proper late-game units. Now that the Corruptors are gone, We can go into the Tempest production. Mama is going to be more effective once again. Beautiful game here by Hero especially. I think what we are witnessing right now is GgMaChine fizzling out. He's retaking this base over here. He's retaking the base over there. But what in the world is he going to be able to do now? GgMaChine is probably going to have to hit one of those GGs of his own. Hero's got him exactly where he needs him. I will say, though, not a comfortable game here for Hero. Right? Like this, if this was a stress test, yeah, he passed, but only just barely. Sanctuary 3 is going to be the second map in this best of 3 series. Hero doing hero things. It's so weird, right? Like, that was ultimately like 12 adepts, so oracles into like 12 adepts without resonating glaives, only to then go mothership together with charge lots. Incredibly quick first base, incredibly fast second expansion then as well, and then a ridiculously late fourth, right? Like, just across the board, the type of strategy that really only Hero pulls off at this level. And how do you practice against that? If you are in GgMaChine shoes, how do you practice against that type of Protoss style? If he plays against every other Protoss player on the European server like he did against MaxPax in that first series, I think he just dismantles them. There's nobody that plays like Hero. So I guess the only way in which you can really do it is by playing tournaments like this. Yeah, get matched against Hero. Think about the games, analyze the replays, but then really your only practice is when you face off against Hero again next time. Now luckily right here for GgMaChine, if he plays in more online cups, he will likely also face against Hero more frequently, because Hero plays in practically everything. But then, of course, you also have to, well, compete with the likes of, for example, Clem, MaxPax, Björn, the players that usually play in a ton of events. Maybe MaxPax not as much as of late. But still, considering I'm even mentioning him in the same, yeah, thought, I guess, right, is already, already a big deal. This time around, not a Nexus first. But again, we did go pylon and the wall off. I'm not sure, by the way, why the shadows on this particular map have never been fixed. I thought it was actually my computer settings for some reason, but no, it's just this map. For some reason, these are... I don't know if I'm the only one. Why does everything look jittery on this map? The shadows look really ugly. I've had somebody comment on the YouTube channel as well, asking if I can maybe change that, but I don't know. What if I move the shadows too high instead of... No. No, we'll move them to Ultra, I guess. It is what it is. Yeah, a bit funky. AVAX! Somebody get AVAX on the line. He made this map. AVAX, the shadows are wrong. This is how people do phone calls, right? I don't know. I don't really do a lot of phone calls. Look at these trees. Looks fucking horrible. Fudging horrible. Alright. Stargate is out of the main base. No variety in that regard. We're doing the dance again. Pylon has to be cancelled. What? Really? Do a cybercore. Yeah, dude. We used to see this. So cybercores, they're like the fastest building, most HP efficient thing you can do. Fun fact, in case you didn't know, Protoss structures still grow outside of the womb, outside of the pylon range. It's one of the many things science can't explain. Adept now also shows up though. Ah, you gotta be careful here as GgMaChine. Major skill check. Yeah, You know what? It's weird. Do you cancel or you keep? He keeps. Dude, I love Hero. Eventually, this base will be taken. But look at the resource count right now for GgMaChine. Yo, this is the type of thing, though, that can make a player fall apart real quick. In the meantime, on the back of this, we have our regular good old Oracle programming. So let's see. Spore Crawler not done in time. Spore Crawler not done in time. No Spore Crawler inside of the main base either. Third Nexus gets planted. About 4:30. Yeah, and this is the type of thing that used to be quite common. But it's not really done very much so anymore these days. But that's very much so just experience, right? Like, that's the type of thing that you will be lacking at the age of 17. You just, yeah, need more practice against this type of stuff. Hero has been playing this game since the early days. It's gonna be difficult to really compete, I guess, with that level of knowledge. But at least now he's seen it. And I'm sure he'll come up with a better answer next time around. I don't think it was terrible this time. Probably needed to add that second group of Zerglings a little bit quicker. Could have been able to kill the pylon. There's a lot of damage. Yeah, no Spore Crawler in the main base. It will be something that Hero picked up on in the previous game. So now suddenly we're dealing with 10 worker losses. The pylon and the cybercore are, of course, the ones in the natural. It's a bit weird to see, but it's not these right over here. Yeah, 10 drones is really excellent. And now we're gonna go for a real Glaive Adept push. On the new patch, Glaive Adepts and all Adepts actually do benefit more from Forge upgrades. Quite a significant thing to keep in mind. It means that they scale a little bit better later on into the game. Energy recharge right here onto the Oracle. Zerglings are gonna slip away. Now, this is going to be committed. I wouldn't call this an all-in. But it's certainly what Blizzard would describe in their blog post back in the day. It's dedicated pressure. Blizzard would never talk about cheese in their blog posts. They always would talk about dedicated pressure, which I thought was kind of funny. This is certainly dedicated pressure right here, though, from Hero. It needs to work, because otherwise he's in a world of trouble. But keep in mind, because of the Glaive Adepts, right? Coming out of these regular good old gateways. He hits a supply block right now. That's a mistake and a half. Yeah, Hero is able to pump him out so much quicker than he normally could. Stasis. Ooh. So likewise, also one over here on the left. He's not quite used to the amount he could usually be producing. But here we go. No Roach Warren, by the way. No Baneling Nest. Ooh, we're going Proxy Pylon. And now we're transforming the gateways into Warp Gates. It's a 4-second transformation time now, by the way, which is pretty sweet. It allows you to just get in so quick. They reduce the amount of time it takes to transform the structure. Queens are being targeted. The Zerglings are trying their best. No +1 melee this time around, by the way, so those Zerglings are kind of struggling. This is a bit messy. Adepts, though, will get into the main base now. Reinforcing units, I guess? Yeah, Pylon is going to be done. Keep in mind, you no longer need an extra gateway here. Wow, to get the speedy warp-ins. Maybe Hero doesn't know? I'm not sure. For some reason, we're proxying 2 additional gateways for no reason at all. Unless he's planning on building out of these as per normal without transforming into gateway or into warp gates? I don't know. I don't think you want to be proxying 4 gates, dude. What the hell is this? What are we doing? This is so weird. I guess he's creating like a nice little wedge over here as well to warp the units in. Yeah, how in the world are you going to engage that as the Zerg? I don't think you can really do a whole lot there as the Zerg player. And GgMaChine indeed decides to agree. He taps out of this series. But honestly, I got to say, phenomenal performance. Hero doing in this second series what Hero does best, right? He just basically made it so that the Zerg player never really got his feet under him. In a straight up macro game, I think it's going to be a very tough yeah, Zerg player to beat, but in this type of game where hero is just the one layering on the aggression, nobody really takes him down. GG.